We are now live from downtown Mill Bay.
Play with the heli.
Put away your phones, laptops, your piece of paper, and pencils. You are unready for class? In here and just chanting?
I have so many notes in my bag.
Phones out and not put away?
Was there a new
Terrible. Nope, this is notes. You just walked around and threw my papers onto the floor?
I did not see that. I thought you just dropped them.
Julie.
Call me Daddy. Yeah, this is quality.
Okay. I believe last day. No, it was an accident. Yeah. Just like the accident that will happen to him later. I'm not at fault. It happened. It's an accident. Yeah, it's recorded. It's an accident. An accident that I had nothing to do with. Someone said you should get your papers out. And then you turn around and continue talking. You were ready to learn. I believe last day we killed 6 people.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
I was the button guy.
Yeah. So, if I could have those people resume their locations.
No, I killed the one first.
No, I know, but everybody go back to where they were.
No, he just killed me.
Yeah.
The trolley problem?
He just
Yep,
killed
the
me.
trolley
I don't have the
problem.
button. Oh.
Because you need the button. Can I have the international deaf community go back to where they were on the train tracks?
They were just part of another
Were they? Or were they just at the back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we don't have to have them up. So, who wasn't here during that particular bit?
Raise your hand.
Okay, we're gonna make it then. It was the 4. Was it not 2 more? Okay, all 6 of you go there. There we go. And you were.
Rugby. What? What?
Sit back down. Sit back down. Oh my God.
Okay. And who was the poor train worker? Excellent. Come.
Are you gonna kill these guys? Oh no, you're you're the one getting killed.
And I think I'm gonna put you here because I think this will be more useful. If I put the button in the middle, so you literally choose. So to recap,
Sounding like Maple Leaf.
Alright.
this is the International Blind and Deaf Club of Train Appreciation. Pardon? No. You got it. This is an important decision. The train's coming straight for them.
Yeah. So.
In a box, in an office, further away, we can see the train approaching. You have the opportunity to switch the train to another track in which there should be no trains. It's being fixed. But, so there's a worker on it who is fixing the train tracks. They're not expecting a train. If you switch the tracks, that person will die. If you do nothing, 6 people will die. So, let's reenact 5,
Well, what are they doing?
4,
We're the deaf.
What are they
3.
doing?
They're
We're
celebrating
doing our
the
deaf
train.
party. It's like an
No,
annual.
we're
We're
not
not
blind
really
and
deaf.
deaf.
Three,
We're
Yeah.
deaf.
Yeah.
Two.
You're
Blind and deaf.
really
Yeah.
good. You're really good.
If you press the button, it's going to hit them if you do nothing. You press the button, you kill 1 instead of 6. 5, 4, 3, 2,
Kill the
1. You
blind
press?
Really?
Okay. So,
Heyo.
You pressed last
We're
time.
deaf.
what?
It's because we're deaf and
Why
blind.
did you press it? You pressed last time?
Yeah.
Why did you
That's
change your mind?
Because
We're
they're
deaf
not,
and
they're not
blind.
meant to be on the track, so like.
No, we are.
No.
No, they are. They all shut up. They're just having a party.
Don't kill
It's
my
a train
boy, Steve.
appreciation day.
And they don't.
Yeah,
Don't
but-
they do it every year?
No, but they're
Don't
blind.
tell me.
They're blind and deaf.
Are they
so they're
blind and
useless.
deaf?
Yeah, otherwise
Yeah,
they'd be
we're
able to
blind.
train
They
them.
don't contribute to
Oh,
society.
wow.
They're blind.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want to get too far into ethics, but
Okay, they're blind.
I will reiterate, if you lose a leg, you don't become 3/4 of a person. Physical infirmity doesn't make you less of a person. The contribute to society is not an area I want to get into much, but we would consider that I doubt any one of you could not find something wrong with themselves that someone else could say, perhaps we should consider you less bad. That is a very dangerous road to go down. But are you gonna change, or are you
Okay,
gonna go
if
last
they're
day?
deaf and blind, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, press the button.
Press it.
Okay, so we have killed the 1 and saved the 6. Or another way of putting it, you directly caused someone else to get killed. Mhm. I would like you to pick the side that you believe you would be on if you were on the button. If you think that that person should die, please go to that side.
Like I feel bad because like they didn't expect the train.
No, they didn't really. Nobody's
Well, we didn't
expecting the
either.
train. It's a bit
We
like the
didn't
Spanish
expect it
Inquisition.
either.
Yeah, but they knew that track
What
is
is it? No,
So,
so they
if
real life.
Did you just say
Ahem,
something like a
ahem.
Spanish
I mean, if you would not press the button at all, not do anything, and they would die, go to that side. So, if you would press the button, go there. If you would not press the button, go there. Everybody here can now choose based on what you do.
What's
Decide what's going on.
Oh, no, no. It's like it's these people's fault.
Pardon?
It's these people's fault.
How is it their fault?
Because I didn't follow the timer as well.
One person didn't follow the fault. Everybody else thought they did. So there's at least 5 people that are
Kill the
totally
6
innocent.
people?
They do it every year.
But you know, they're on that track as they're the ones.
Oh, you gotta pick a side. You can't stand in the middle.
Which side is which side?
That side you press the button, kill 1, save 6. That side you do nothing. Pick a side. Woo. Are you on that side? You're over there? Okay.
One person.
No, you don't need to explain. Can everybody turned facing this way?
Pretend they're not blind. They're just tied to the track.
What? Turned. Everybody's attention? So, this is actually normally the kind of ratio I do get. Most people say, yeah, 6 versus 1. Most people go there. I am curious here because they are lower in number, so they must have a reason. Why are you choosing to kill 6 people? Yeah, hand.
Because, well, in the story you said that the 6 people themselves filed the thing wrong.
Nope. One person filed the thing wrong.
One
Everybody else, they've been doing this for years. They expected it to go like every other year.
Okay, but then, yeah, one person in their group filed a thing wrong, and changing the button to kill someone that didn't do anything wrong is like morally like pretty gray. And also the fact that by doing something you're actively like making yourself a murderer.
Okay, there's 2 things there. There's the activity of it. You can do nothing, and then it's not your fault. And the other part you said, one person didn't do anything wrong. Like the point, at least even if you blame the person for not filling out a form properly, then that's really worth the death penalty. But even if you think it is, 5 people did nothing wrong. Do you change your mind?
If 5 people did nothing wrong,
5
but that
people-
one person also did nothing wrong.
Yeah. So you have 5 people who did nothing wrong and 1 person who did nothing wrong.
Yeah, but then they're the ones who like, what do you call it, associate themselves with the person who did something wrong anyway.
They're not committing murder. They just didn't file a form. How many
Yeah.
friends do you have that
Also, like, looking at
may forget something?
I think the argument is to like value one, or how much one might be
Yeah.
compared to
Yeah, that's
the
it.
rest of the thing. But like, I think you're not the one who's supposed to decide that.
Oh no, you did. You did decide it.
Yeah, I just,
You weighed that one
yeah, I'm not.
more than this one. So, also interesting, how many of you feel like the action, like even if you didn't make this decision, it is a little different that you press the button versus not doing anything? Yeah. Now you understand why people don't like vaccines. It, the 80s vaccine.
It's over.
The 80s vaccine thing that came out, and just to be clear, vaccines are absolutely safe, but the idea that you could give your child something that would cause something bad makes people feel really bad. So they would rather not have the vaccine because then they didn't cause anything. And that's what causes that type of thinking. Also, just so you know, that's the whole like action versus inaction. Inaction, it's even reflected in law, is considered action. Like, you didn't press the button, but you chose not to press the button.
Yeah, but in a court of law, you wouldn't get persecuted for this.
You certainly would.
No, because then you would get persecuted for pressing the button to kill one person.
What would your defense be?
My defense would be I didn't want to incriminate myself.
Well, if you're gonna have, like, just to be clear, you're all gonna have to go explain to those 6 families why they died.
Well, yeah, because they were associated with they were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, but just like the worker.
Yeah.
And
But I would have to be the one who actually did that situation.
Right.
Which shows that I had what do you call it? I had intentionally done it.
yes,
Yeah.
but you intentionally didn't press the button.
But I could also be ignorant in that situation.
No, because we're not considering lying. Like, we're not considering like, oh, I don't like morally you chose not to press the button. Right. If you're a doctor and someone's choking you, and you can save it, and you don't save it, like you're in a restaurant, can you be charged?
Or I guess you can
Pardon?
also share it. You guys can be
I don't know.
switch
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're a doctor,
quarterly.
Yeah. If you know how to save someone's life and they're choking in front of you,
All these guys are fucking.
and you refuse to save them because you don't want to take action, can you be charged? You failed to act.
depends on the country.
It does. Well, law isn't ethics, but
Yeah.
it is, just to be clear, there is the feeling that actions carry more weight, but we do recognize that someone who doesn't do something and they could have prevented harm, there is some weight there too. Like, it is, not doing something is still a choice. Nobody's allowed to claim if you had the ability. So remember, you're in a box, the train's coming, you're the only one who can act. Yeah?
Like a more realistic situation is like if someone has, or if 6 people have like failing organs.
Oh, hold that. Hold that thought. Okay.
Bro, but like.
No, I'm going to use you. In fact, you stand right there.
Oh.
Right there. We're going to switch this up a little bit. Remember which side you're on. And I will keep you two here. You can go on that side. You can go on that side. I'll put you over there. No, don't. Trust me, you do not want to hit him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Doctor, if you could come here. You're going to stand right here. And we need a good patient. Excellent. You're very patient. Right? You're a patient person. Okay. Everybody else can sit down. Yeah. Remember where you were. I'm going to ask you to make a little different decision. You've probably seen this one before. It's become a lot more famous, the trolley problem. There's a whole website where you can do 1,000 different variations. Patience. Back a little bit. Remember? Well, not remember. I haven't told you yet. Now, these people, gentlemen, these people are all very sick. We need a new heart, lungs, kidney, liver, all of his skin and eyes, pancreas, and all of the intestines. Large, small, maybe medium. I don't know what you have, but all of them. All of them are going to be dead in 24 to 48 hours because their organs are in fact failing.
Just kill them.
We are not yet done. We're eating popcorn while people are dying. Please put the fruit candy away. Now, they're in their hospital beds, they're waiting, they're under the care of our esteemed doctor. Now, just to be clear, you are the best doctor in the world at a particular type of surgery. Very good at surgeries in general, but a particular type of surgery you invented. You are the expert. If anybody needs it, you are actually the only one who can perform it. And there is someone who needs your particular skills. They have been referred to you, And they are, the surgery itself is experimental. You've performed it successfully. Remember, best in the world once. And you tried it 10 times. It's a very low rate of success, but without it, certain to die in 2 hours. Clock is ticking. Unconscious, on the table, prepped, ready to go. You made your will? Made the will. Notified your family? Notified, did you have like a wake or a little celebration? Because you're probably not coming back. No, not yet. You're very confident. Confidence! 90% chance of death, but still confident. Well done. Premier expert in the world. You're getting prepped. You're going to do this. Before you go, you check your email. 2 emails come up. Number 1, the previous doctor who referred this is a moron. Missed clearly obvious signs. This person's not actually sick. Yeah, they're totally fine. They could wake up right now. You could let them go. I mean, they're unconscious and ready. Like, you could, like, practice if you wanted. But, like, they're fine. They're fine. They're fine. However, second email, in preparation for the surgery, you have a whole list of their compatibilities in terms of their organs. And it turns out they're great because their heart would cure this patient and their lungs and their liver and all of their skin and eyes and their intestines and their kidneys. All of them could be transferred and used right now, and we would save 6 people. Just to be clear, they would die. Like, if you don't have any organs, you die. Like, that's bad. So they are going to die. No one is going to know that you did this. Everybody's expecting the surgery to go bad. You can walk in there, pretend to start the surgery, and just go, oops, I guess it went bad, and just start harvesting organs and saving your patients. No one is going to question you. You're the best in the world.
It depends on if, like, he got, his lungs are bad from smoking and his
Oh, you want to see
liver's-
relevant difference? No.
Yeah.
They were all done in a tragic accident. That was not their fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so
Yeah.
I choose.
Yeah, so here's the choice, obviously. Do you wake up your patient who has done nothing wrong and is not sick and say, surprise, and then allow them to go home? Or do you harvest their organs and then prevent having to explain to 6 different families why their wife, husband, children, cousins, uncles, aunts have died?
Yeah.
Right here. Right here.
I'm saving.
You're saving. You're letting 6 people die?
Yes. They just got unlucky.
They
It's like
just-
being short.
Yeah, yeah. Now I'd like to point out, which side of the room were you on before?
That's that.
You were on that side. So you're consistent. You are not going to kill 1 to save 6 in both scenarios. But you were just one of 3. I would like you now to pick a side, everybody, regardless of where they are. Are you going to kill the single patient? Or are you going to kill the 6? So, operate. Don't operate.
I don't want to kill an innocent person. This is so much easier to justify than the trademark. Yeah.
So much easier to justify, the man says.
Because if I kill, wait, are those people sick?
Those sick,
kill the sick-
yeah,
kill the sick
they need an organ in 24 hours or they're going to die.
But didn't you said the one person here matches all the other
Yeah, all of them.
requirements?
Yeah, so you can transplant the organs and they'll all be saved.
But she dies.
So just to be clear, you're all going to take the one, slice in, take out heart, give heart, take out lungs.
It's like the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Now, which side were you on before?
This
This side. So you are is consistent. Your logic bears out. You will kill 1 to save 6. Yeah.
Do it.
These benighted heathens, well, some of them. How many of you switched sides? Why'd you switch sides?
Me?
Yeah.
Because I think it's just more wrong to harvest organs than just let them die.
anything that's going around being harming targets. Why? because it's the same. The logic, we've got 1 died, 6 saved. How is the logic different?
I guess it's just subjective, I guess.
She has her will and stuff already.
Do you want doctors making subjective decisions about, like, I feel bad today, so I'll kill more people?
I think Jane has an answer here.
I will go there, then there, by order of hands.
In this one, like the families, like
Put the corn things away.
if you have like a failing liver or something like that, like the family's like probably prepared and they know that like you're unwell and they know that like they have the news that you're gonna die.
Yeah.
So like it won't just be like
I love this.
it won't just be like, oh, like they died because like someone made like a bad decision. It's like, oh, they died because they've had this thing for like a long time.
So
like
You're-
they're
you're-
more prepared.
Yeah, they're more prepared.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. Just keep in mind that's true for everybody. Like, we have a patient here.
Yeah.
The family's prepared.
Yeah.
They think they're diseased,
But they're not.
but they're not. But nobody knows that except for the doctor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the point.
Yeah.
Because like in
Uh,
reality, she's actually not going to die. That's the like real difference between the train situation and this situation. Because in the train situation is like guaranteed she's gonna die if you take that decision, right?
Oh, gentlemen, what are you doing? So you're saying this scenario is different because the single person, like she who's by themselves on the table, is not going to die unless you do it.
Yeah, because she's
Right.
not in a life anyway. But
Right.
also like what
Hold
do
on,
you
no, I just want to what. So one at a time. So the key point here is that if you do nothing essentially, she lives.
Yeah.
Just like the person working on the train tracks.
No, because these people are already like in situations where they're not going to live, and by harvesting that.
No, stop. Because I like that statement. These people are already in a situation where they're going to die. Just like the train tracks. No, because the trains,
He's legit not even letting me know.
the train's coming straight forward, right? Like the train's there, they're going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's making me let me get across.
Oh, yes?
So basically, no, the way I see it, you can either kill a person,
Yeah.
save 6,
Yes?
or you can wait because they're not gonna die for the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
Who knows what kind of illegal human trafficking system has kidnapped somebody?
Human trafficking.
Okay. These are,
When did this come?
one of the things I don't want you to get too
Blood thinks it's Squid Games.
too involved in is there's a lot of ways to change the scenario so you can have different colorings, and the purpose of an example like this is not to change it, to deal with the problem as it is in front of us. So we're not going to get some magic black market organs. It is they are going to die in 24 to 48 hours if they don't get organs. There is no other source. It's not going to happen. There are variations you can make up, but the mind wants to seek other avenues. And I'm just saying the point of this is a thought experiment. Thought experiments don't allow those choices because otherwise you're not dealing with the actual
But that's
thing.
not real. It's not like they're guaranteed to die with 100%.
No, it is. That's the scenario.
But while you're making the choice, like if you're a doctor, you wouldn't know if a donor becomes available.
No, you did. Like it's there. She's right there on like a
Yeah, I know,
table.
but, like when you're making the choice, when you know she's okay and these ones aren't.
Yeah.
Like you don't know that from
Yeah.
another hospital.
It is,
Yeah.
gentlemen. It is the purpose of like ethical thought experiments because number one, we don't want to do this experiment in real life. As my ethics professor has said, you don't need to run over the heads of puppies with a lawnmower to know that it's wrong. You just do it as a thought experiment. Don't actually do it. In this case, it's an easy way to say, well, that will never happen, so I don't have to worry about it. What we're doing is like setting up a math problem. There's math problems that might never happen in real life, but they teach a math skill. That's what an ethical thought experiment is. Those are the rules. You can still probably figure out the right and wrong decision. What is the right decision? Are you on the right side?
They're not on the right.
So, let's say this may never happen. Are you comfortable being on this side and killing 6 people?
Well, as a doctor, I wouldn't want to kill people.
just letting them die. Like, I'm not
Right.
killing them.
You would like to let 6 of your patients die.
That are like ready to like.
Ready to die.
But other patient ready to die.
This person
Yeah,
has like a
she's-
will written.
she's not actually.
Yeah, but only you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
I was still saying that doesn't change the fact that she's well, like she's well enough to live a full life.
Yeah. And so are they. They can live a full life if you just give someone a heart. Have a heart.
If it's from like, but then they would be living a life full of lives because they would have a dead, like a person who's
Okay.
there.
I love you.
Ooh.
A life full
Oh,
of life.
I want to. Who's living a life full of life? That was
Oh my god, yeah.
the doctor.
But if they somehow figure out, most likely they will.
I-
If they do.
I will set up
They will go.
for this scenario to work. I also set up the artificial piece that you will never get caught. Like that's guaranteed.
Okay, so then you would be having
Yeah.
to live with yourself of killing someone as a doctor who's meant to save someone.
Right. So in
And you
addition to saving 6 people,
But
you took on the guilt
also,
for them. What a noble person you are.
but with the 6 people, like
You're next.
I don't know how to say this.
Okay. Okay.
I wanted to say the same scenario applies when, like, say you're like a really, really good assassin and you kidnap a random innocent person off the street and kill them and then sell their organs on the black market.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing.
The difference between those two scenarios, it's an interesting thing. Like, should we do this at all? With the assassin, we don't have the person already thinking that they're going to die. There's a profit motive, which makes it. Does the doctor get anything out of this?
No.
No.
Money?
The money's same either way. They're not really going to get richer.
What? But won't they like perform a surgery on like the 6 people that they saved?
Yeah, but
They
you
get
know,
paid for that.
dying costs money too.
But the
Okay,
thing.
but it's one person. But it's one person.
No, like
You
when,
lose more
when
money
the, if you
are
let
on
them live, they're going to need therapy in the end in the last 48 hours. Like, for a doctor, that's not going to be a huge consideration. It's not massive amounts of money either way.
Even so, the considerations you said are only less of a reason to be spending there.
Yeah.
What?
What do you mean? What considerations?
Is like if they're like because the profit, like making a profit.
Yeah.
You probably want to be on this side too, and then like
Yeah, but
maybe.
what about the? Because at some level, the doctor's getting paid either way. So it is truly an independent choice in that sense. We're taking profit motive. Say we're in Canada, it's not like they get paid per surgery, like that kind of a deal. Yeah, if you put it in a country where you get paid per surgery, it might be, oh, six things, I'll kill them all and then do it, and I'll get paid for it, and I get lots of money, maybe. But taking that out of it, like which is the most moral choice? Let's say the doctor's a volunteer, not getting paid at all.
Yeah, I would say leaving it because it's like also if you think about it, it's like it's just luck or bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
So like, say you lose all your money in the casino, or not even in the casino. Say you just like get robbed. So you just get.
Please stop playing with my computer. What are you doing?
So you just like get robbed. It's like the same as being unlucky and your heart dies. So are you saying we should rob other people and distribute the wealth
Yeah.
to people who have been robbed?
Yeah.
Or should we just let them keep their money? I say keep their money because they just got unlucky and got robbed.
And people get lucky and get money.
Yeah.
Okay, you can have a seat. We're not going to resolve that at all. I'm just going to point out some of you are on the wrong side. However, those of you who switched sides, I noticed. I didn't convince. Is there anybody that would switch sides now? Like having heard everything, they would switch where they were. I really admire that you were strong in your convictions and unwilling to change in the face of evidence. Well done. I like that. Yeah. Nobody changed. Yeah. Yes. Oh, we're going to come back to this. This is to illustrate a point because there's more than one types of ethics. What you did is you switched ethical types.
No, what would you choose?
What would I choose?
Yeah, that's evidence.
Hmm.
Oh.
Hmm.
No,
Also
Hmm.
subjective.
You know, surgery is a lot of fun.
Yeah, this guy's doing it for fun.
Ah,
No.
if you're, I have had, when I say it's a lot of fun, there is the, when I was your age, actually, grade 10, I wanted to go to university, I wanted to be a physics major, doing particular things that now, my God, I'm glad I didn't go there. However, I had a particular plan, and I had this view of university where people went and they attained knowledge, and they like went to classes and they were like interested in the subject, and they like worked to figure things out. And university was this great place where people did that. And then I was at my friend's brother's, and he was going to university. He was in second year, and they were sitting down picking their third year courses, and they were all picking them based on what the time of day that the class started at. One of them changed majors because he didn't want to go to an 8 a.m. class. Yeah, and then my view of like, why do you pick things? To knowledge? No, just what time you want to get up in the morning. And they changed the course of their entire lives. So, sure, you can just pick what's the most fun. Don't know if I'd want a job. One of the claims I'm going to make, and I'm kind of just going to ask you to accept, is that we first started off with two types of claims, objective and subjective. We have ethics in there, and this is facts. And we have subjective claims that are not ethics, I am going to say, and that these can be true and false. Now, certainly we have disagreement. You can say we had two different points of view. One of them has to be wrong. That is what I am saying. Because the other part of it is if they can both be right, then there is no such thing as right and wrong. It would be a little weird if someone was eating the worst form of ice cream that exists, chocolate mint ice cream, and they were your roommate, and you said, you should not do that, that is evil. And when they tried, you tackled them, ripped it out of their hands, and threw it away. Because are they allowed to like chocolate mint ice cream?
No. Yes.
If roommates were that violent about their cultural practices, let's say, then the houses really wouldn't work. However, let's say your roommate enjoys going to the local farm where I noticed they had a sign up and there's puppies for sale. For sale. They're like $5. The farmer just wants to know. They brought a puppy back and they just enjoy sitting down and just like ripping off the legs. That's just a thing they do in their spare time. They find it relaxing. Yeah, the puppy.
Nah.
Would it be appropriate to stop them?
Yes.
Tackle them if needed?
Yes.
Yes, because they're puppies. Why are you doing this? This is what I'm saying is an ethical claim. You can recognize instantly it's objective. It doesn't matter if they grew up ripping the legs off of puppies and they don't know it's wrong. If they don't know it's wrong, it's like not knowing how to do certain kinds of math. You're still wrong. You just might not know it, and they maybe need to be taught it better. People can be worse or better at math, but there's still right answers whether or not it exists. I would also, however, caution, and since I mentioned math, I use math a lot because it's an area that relates well to ethics, because it is also a place of thought in which you don't do experiments. We don't do experiments in math. We don't take two rocks and we throw two more rocks on and go, oh, there's 4 rocks. If the universe, John, if the universe changed and you could put 2 rocks in your pocket and then you could put 2 more rocks in your pocket, and when you pulled it out, it was 6 rocks, math wouldn't change because the additive property is true regardless of whether or not it happens in the universe. Math is just a language, like English. We made it up. It is still objective. But there's lots of things we made up that are still objective. who is Luke Skywalker's father? Darth Vader. And that is a true statement. That is an objectively true statement. And yet, we just made it up. We just made it up. Math is the same way. Actually, I should probably check. Was math invented or discovered?
Invented.
Hands up if you think it was invented. Hands up if you think it was discovered. Excellent. So if most of you were on the invented side, if it's invented, then someone just called it into existence. It didn't exist before them. They invented it like we invent language. And if you're like, how could you, like, it fits the world so well. Yeah, in the words of a math philosopher, math is all just made up. We're just really lucky it describes our world so well. You can make up forms of math that don't describe our world so well, and you actually use some forms of those all the time. You were taught one kind of math in math class, but you use other types of math to illustrate that point. I'll go here for just a second. This is going to be very easy to begin with. Guy, what is 3 plus 4?
7.
Yeah. What is 4 plus 5? 9. What is 10 plus 4? Nope. It's 2.
No, it's 13.
Oh, you've done sports.
Yeah. What is this if I've done this before in this class? No. Okay, well, those of you who know, keep it quiet. Those of you who don't know, what is 9 plus 5?
14.
Yes? Pardon?
No.
It's what?
She said still 2.
Still 2? 9. I have to do my own math. Oh, yeah, it is still 2. Yeah.
So 14 is 2?
No, 14 is not 2. 14 is 14. Don't be crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
So can you
Yeah.
count in your math?
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Yeah.
1,
But I'm going to ask you another question.
1.
What is 5 plus 12?
9.
It's 5. And I will say, you've done this math. Lots of people have done this math because they've looked. What is 12 plus 1? 1. And you do this math in this block all the time because you go, it's usually 12 plus 1 1/4 to see how much time you have. Oh my God, there's only 1 1/4 left. Thank God. In fact, it's 1 because early lunch.
Early lunch?
Early lunch?
Well, junior
What
lunch.
is junior lunch?
Junior lunch is early lunch. Because those of you who know, what am I describing?
Who's throwing?
What? You're going like this? A clock. And if you're thinking, well, that's just because you're not using a 24-hour clock, you can do it with a 24-hour clock. You just have to go 23 plus 5. And it also resets. Gentlemen, if you have a clock and you do that type of addition, you are using a number line that is circular. And it doesn't describe our universe, but it turns out it actually does describe certain parts of our universe, and it's more useful than the number line method of math. If you talk to Ms. Walensky about it, she could probably tell you hours about it, because she has a friend with a PhD who just thinks about math all day, and that's what they think. She doesn't do experiments. She just thinks really hard about what does this mean for numbers. How do you solve equations? How do you do algebra? How do you actually work out if things add in that kind of a way? There is no negative part of this number line anyway. You can still do subtraction, but you always end up with positive numbers. All of math changes. And it's not different from our current math, it just doesn't describe what you see every day. We choose the type of language that works for us, whether it's English or math. So math is objective or subjective? Yeah. Can you be wrong in math?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've all agreed on the rules. So math has facts, but we made it up, just like Star Wars. Before I then do ethics, I want to just quickly run through all the things that ethics isn't. Can you put away all the food? It's very loud. We don't need it. You're getting lunch very soon.
Come on, Alex.
We don't need commentary on it either. Why would I say ethics is not emotion? I am going.
Subjective.
They are subjective. What would our decisions be like if we? Because the most popular version of this is if it feels good, it must be good.
Like what if you're a psychopath and it feels good?
And yes.
Like if you're a psychopath and it feels good to kill people.
Yeah.
Like that's not it.
Yeah. Or your doctor has a bad day and starts saying, let's kill 6 people to save 1. Like, you don't want the feeling to make it. So I will say that if any of you were on a side just because of your feelings, that you've just agreed that that wasn't a very good reason. It shouldn't be how you feel. You should have a reason. Now, you might have a reason you can't articulate, so maybe it's not to do with your feelings. You can imagine if our former prime minister in his last few days decided to make terrible decisions because he was getting a divorce and he was feeling sad, so he just, I don't care. We've already done this one, but I'm going to add an extra word to it, which is relativism. Relativism and subjectivism, which is an opinion, they're not really the same, but I'm going to say they are because they are enough for our purposes doing this in like a day or two, is the idea that you can have a set of ethics and that other people can have a set of ethics and you can't tell them that they're wrong. You have to like be really tolerant or something, which is nonsense, this tolerance thing. And you've already agreed to that, tricked you, because would you stop your roommate from ripping the legs off of puppies? Yeah. And if you wouldn't, you're the one we're stopping. There are some things that we can recognize that's ethics. You can be wrong no matter what you believe. It'd be really weird if you said, you know what, I personally don't believe in pulling the legs off of puppies. Like, it's not for me. I think it's deeply wrong. But if you do it, that's okay. That feels wrong. Can you put all of the food away? There's been nothing but food problems in this class. Yeah. You have an entire long break in which to eat all of that. Yeah.
Don't ethics not have like a solid right or wrong though? Because like, what if we were raised in a society where ripping legs off puppies is normal and considered good? So aren't ethics determined by like ourselves? And like, I read something. It was like it's based on like religion and like, or religion is shaped what society thinks of as good or bad.
Right.
Like,
What you were describing may be popular opinion or cultural practices. Now, if you had a roommate who was ripping the legs off of puppies, and he says, you know, you got to let me do it. I let you not eat meat on Wednesdays because that's how you were raised. And my parents, we'd all gather around every evening, get the puppy, and we'd all take turns ripping off the legs. Would that be an excuse? Or would that just mean they didn't know?
how about eating puppies
No,
though?
I'm not gonna.
Me personally.
Let's not gray it. Let's keep it black and white. Would you still think someone should stop them?
Yes.
If you grew up like,
But what if you also grew up ripping legs off puppies?
let's pick the most extreme examples we can think of. You grew up in, say, the ancient times. You've managed to live until now. I don't know. You're a vampire. And you grew up in a time where, you know, people were property. Pick, I don't know, Roman time, any times. Is it ethically wrong for them to believe that people are property?
No.
No?
Yes. But back in that time period, wouldn't you probably have thought of it as okay or normal?
You might have.
And then
But
as
It's not
society
wrong.
advances, then you would think.
Oh, interesting word. So as society advances, so society now knows more. Can you look back and say, you know, the math that, like, I don't know, the Greek was doing was wrong because we now know more math? So can you retroactively judge their ethics? Like, let's say this group of people ripped the legs off of puppies for fun. You could look back and say, you know, we now know why that's wrong. Was it still wrong then?
No,
Why not?
because it was right.
Is ethics based on what's normal? So if everybody
it's
here,
based on what they're like.
What
I don't
is
know,
it
I don't know
based
where
on?
like a norm.
yeah. Oh, I'm not going to answer that yet. I'm only doing what's not. So if I convince, because I can be very convincing, I will grant A's to all the students who start taking up the cultural practice of ripping the legs off of puppies.
It's like based on what they're adapted to.
Yeah. If I manage to convince enough people that this is okay, does that make it okay? Is ethics just popular opinion, or can you have one person who's right and the whole world that's wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how do you recognize that he's right if the
Yeah.
whole world?
Ooh, yeah, well, that's a whole different problem. You do need, can you prove math?
No.
Yes.
Yes. And if you invented math to prove why it's wrong, you can probably show them, even if they've never done it before, because it's built on facts, right? So I'm not going to say how you do it in an instance, but you could probably still explain to them why it's wrong. You'd have to go through a lot of what we learned in history and things, and then they might go, oh, hey, you're right. Or they might say, this is the way my parents did it, so I'm going to do it too. I don't know. But whether or not you convince them is immaterial. Are you still right that they shouldn't rip the legs off of puppies?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is different from a cultural practice, like I don't want to eat meat on every second Thursday, or I like to put on certain tattoos on my face, and it's an honored practice that shows my lineage. Or I want to, these are all things that it doesn't matter if you do or not. You can allow them to do it, they're not right or wrong. But there are some things that it doesn't matter if you grew up doing it. We probably say it was wrong. I use puppies because in ethics class we use infanticide. But I do find there's far more people that are willing to say killing puppies is wrong than people who are willing to say killing babies are wrong at a high school level. I don't know what it is, but people seem to really like puppies more than humans. Do you see that distinction? Cultural versus ethics?
Yeah, but like, what if it is a cultural practice that
Yeah.
happens? Like, what if killing puppies?
Yeah, is there cultural practice? Yeah.
Like,
Can you have an objection ethically to a cultural practice if it's killing puppies?
yes, but
There you
they
go.
also have like beliefs. They probably have beliefs about it and stuff.
Are all beliefs worthy of equal respect?
No.
Right. As some people have already said to me, I have clearly proven why the earth is flat on more than one occasion, and some of you have shown a distinct lack of respect for that. Not all beliefs are worthy of respect. That one is, but not all. See, the weird thing is, you're very, I don't know how to put it, you're very nice people. You're very tolerant. Tolerant is a virtue. We want to allow people to have their different practices. But there are some things that you would be intolerant of, otherwise you wouldn't be good. If you came to Brentwood and you found out that secretly Brentwood had a form of, I don't know, we enslaved the grade 8s and forced them to work in the child salt mines. Don't worry, you get a cut of the profits.
Are we starting that? Are we starting that?
Now, how many of you think that maybe we should stop doing that? We've been doing it for ages.
How much money?
We
does
start
it
off with
bring
like
in?
80 grade 8s. There's only like, I don't know, 34 left now. Some don't make it back out of the mines.
We'll do more next year.
Yeah, we just get more the next year. And the ones that are left, battle hardened. Yeah. Oh, keep it, okay, we'll just keep it going. I don't want to go around and do which do you think is a cultural practice versus this, because that could get a little dicey. But I think some examples with the law.
Yeah.
Why would I say the law is not ethics?
Because it's something that we've made.
Well, we also made ethics.
CSA coffee.
You are on the right track.
Because
Hands, yeah?
say the doc, say people knew that the doctor had the choice, or people knew that the person was actually fine, then he would be charged with murder if he saved this 6 other people.
Yeah. I think, well, you've brought the law in terms of being charged with murder, but why does that, I'm saying the law is not ethics. Can someone come up with an example why you wouldn't want law to be ethics?
Because like if you didn't kill the one person who saved them, then you wouldn't be charged for murder because you didn't give the organs to the 6 people.
Even though the 6 people are
Yeah.
Even though the 6 people, how does that make law not ethics?
Because if law was ethics, then you would still get charged even if you didn't.
Well, I don't say, I'm not, just to be clear, I'm not saying law is never ethical. Should our laws be ethical?
No.
We don't want ethical laws?
We do, but like.
Fantastic. I have so many policies.
That's impossible.
Next class, I'm going to start a whole grade selling scheme.
Why?
Dollars per percent.
Why?
Wait, how
Well,
much
if
is
there's
a
no,
Why would you want
if laws aren't ethics, I can make up any laws I like. Yes.
Well, you're not. Ethics isn't law because, or like law isn't ethics either. Well, because in choosing the one person, even though they're well, you're actively taking away their life. Well, it's just like it's not necessarily your actions that kill those 6 people.
I would keep in mind, like I've had a few now, always going back to that example. That's not a great example because I already said you're not going to get caught. There's no law involved in there. Can you think of laws that would demonstrate, any laws, history or current day, that would demonstrate why law is not ethics? History might be a better place to delve in there.
Maybe like stealing, like if someone is starving and they're stealing food, that's still against the law, but it's ethical.
Wait, isn't it? Like,
Not all laws are ethical.
Isn't it in Las Vegas against the law to be homeless?
There are a variety of laws that are on the books that we might reckon. I mean, obviously, slavery was once legal in a variety of different countries, and those are. It is illegal to be a certain type of person on. In some countries, I did have a student who was here, and she had to phone to see if she would qualify for refugee status in Canada. Because her country made, if she was part of the rainbow spectrum, which she accidentally outed to her parents, she didn't know how her parents would act, and if they let anybody know, she could have been taken away because it was illegal in her home country. And then she was very worried what would happen if she went home. There are some laws that are unethical. We have all sorts of countries that make laws all around the world. Canada has had some very unethical laws. These are old. This is not current day politics, by the way. This is before Trump became president. For the first time where these came from. Prime Minister Stephen Harper in the past, previous Prime Minister, was questioned because the ethics commissioner was fired when he started investigating the Prime Minister. Seems a little shady. If you're going around saying, I can pardon myself for crimes, you're actually admitting that you did crimes. The fact that the law means you won't get punished doesn't mean the law is just or good. And there's another side of it. Do you want every time that you do something unethical, should every unethical thing be punished by law?
No.
I did have a young lady from a house who came to see me, and she wanted me to punish a boy in the house. She thought he deserved a couple hours of house jobs because he broke up with her by text. And then when she asked why, he left her on red.
No, that's valid.
He does, yeah.
She was very upset.
That's valid.
There's grade 9 drama every year. She actually, I would like to say, made an appointment. I thought it was serious.
That's pretty serious.
Yeah, pretty serious, yes. So there's the idea. Number one, lots of countries make laws. They're not done by people who are trained in ethics. Laws can be unethical. So we don't want to say that laws are ethics. At the same time, there are things that might be that are wrong that we wouldn't want to punish with the full force of the law. Breaking up by text might be one of them. There's lots of gambling websites. There's no laws against designing children-friendly websites that clearly say you should be 18, but really all their graphics are to entice children to go get their parents' credit card and start feeding it gambling stuff. They call them loot boxes. The entire point of civil disobedience is to break the law to show why a law is wrong. Fairy Creek is an area nearby, which they want to do some logging. There is nobody living there. They didn't stop traffic, and they were thoroughly trounced by the RCMP. I'd have to look for it up on a map. I don't have it at the top. We have a gentleman here illegally standing in the way, a priest. You can see a gun and a gun. This is not recent. These are old pictures, so this is not recent news. But illegally in the way to try and prevent people from hurting themselves. We have a gentleman here who was arrested in Florida for feeding homeless people.
Why?
He was feeding homeless people.
What?
Yes!
What is illegal
How
about
dare
it?
ye?
No, what's illegal about it though? Like
It's easy. It's against the law.
for homeless people or to feed them?
To feed them.
Why?
Yeah. Well, because if you feed them, then they have food. Yeah, you didn't think that through. I really like this one because it's rainbow. So it says, we really, really want to seem positive. But see all these bars? They're not armrests. They're there so the homeless people can't use it as a bed very comfortably, so that they can't find somewhere to sleep if they don't have a home. They're specifically anti-homeless. If you've ever walked in Victoria or other cities and you see like this little alcove where someone could get some shelter and has big spikes on the bottom, and you're like, what's that for? That's to hurt homeless people so they don't sleep there. So it's called, what is it? Not negative architecture, yeah. But it's a type of violent architecture, which is the overall heading for it, to enforce hostile architecture, that is. Also, those bars are easily removed with an Allen key, which is a very cheap piece of a tool that you can get. It's totally illegal to do it, and you never should. And then some places will even buy that metal, and then you can afford a burrito, but that would be bad if you happen to carry one of those around with you all the time. I don't have one in my bag right now at all. But this is actually a poster that was put up all around the same town that had that in it, as people were trying to protest as an act of civil disobedience the appearance of this and there. So there's lots of examples in which the law has been bad, even in modern days. And Canada, of course, has a long and rich history of that, particularly with our Indigenous people. I was attending a conference for education in Boston, and they were talking about LGBTQ rights, and they mentioned the Stonewall riots. And the Stonewall riots in the States in the late 60s are when the police went in to raid a bar that had gay people in it because they really wanted to beat up gay people, to make a long story short. Gay people and drag queens fought back hard. They are relaying the story. It's a piece of American history. They're really proud of it. It's an act of civil disobedience. And they asked me, a Canadian, like, what's going on there? And I'm like, well, when I was there, U.S. hadn't legalized gay marriage in every state yet. Canada had across the country. And I was like, oh, we've never had that problem. Gay people are totally accepted in Canada. We've had gay marriage forever. I don't know what you're talking about. Canada's never done this. I don't know my history. Canada had what's called the bathhouse riots up until the 80s. Not the late 60s, the 80s, where police would just raid places with gay people for fun. I think the last one was in like 1988. And so we have a long history of that too. We actually have a whole separate bathhouse riots that happened, and it happened later. We did legalize it first, but we had later recognition. This is also to show the difference. At one point in history, people thought that if two different people were of a different race, it should be illegal to get married. And that's in red. So this is the percentage of the US population with legal recognition of interracial marriage. It's a bit over 50% down here in the 1940s. And then you can see it climbs as a state or two, and then it jumps to full legal access in 1967. This is an opinion poll. The majority of people didn't think interracial marriage should be allowed until 1995. I'm just letting that sit because I was graduated then and like an adult working in things. And it blows my mind it took that long. However, it did eventually go above 50%. The law preceded, and in this case, the law was actually more ethical than people's opinions. So people's opinions aren't law, but the law actually enforced. In terms of same-sex marriage, the opinion hit 50% before full legal access. When this graph was made, U.S. still hadn't recognized gay marriage in all of the states. And so in one case, we had the law preceding, and in the other case, we had it lacking and following behind. Canada did legalize it, and I can't remember the year in that space, but I think it was 2012 or something when I was having the conference. So we don't want to make the law ethics, but I do want to say the law should be ethical. It just we wouldn't want to use it to say that it's the same thing. We got 56. The last one is one I want to be careful on, and just to make sure, and I'm going to explain it, is religion. Why can you have a religion with an ethical practice that you follow? And the answer is absolutely yes, and this is why I'm going to be careful. I'm not saying that religion doesn't have morality or that you couldn't have morality with religion. Oh, by the way, there's our former prime minister. He used to work at Whistler as a snowboarding instructor. That is a dreamy man. I have a giant poster in my room. Look at that chin. Whoo! That's Trudeau. Yeah. He worked at Whistler as a ski instructor. Yeah. Oh, well. Oh, so I said the most evil ice cream in the world was mint chocolate. I did actually find the most evil ice cream in the world. It's Hitler ice cream. That actually exists in India. Yeah. I don't know. Go back where? To Dreamy Boy?
I want that. No, what does it taste like? Can we please?
I don't know. It doesn't list any other flavors on it.
Can we
No. They came out with a line of military leader ice cream. So they had like Genghis Khan. They had all sorts of. They even had a couple of like Roosevelt, like U.S. presidents, like in the same line because they're just making a line. They're in India. I don't think anybody fact checked anything. They just started producing ice cream with pictures.
Dude, I really want to try that. Like so bad.
I don't know if that's something you want to say out loud.
No, I just want to know how to taste it.
Okay. Moving on. I'm not saying that any particular faith or practice is wrong when I say we're not going to consider religion as ethics. But I'm going to use the example of Jean Chrétien. Who knows who Jean Chrétien was? Jean Chrétien. He's like the guy. That's a name with a French accent. Yep.
Like that one guy.
He's that one guy.
Did he die?
He was
I think he died.
Prime Minister of Canada. And I wouldn't say famously, but he was known to be Roman Catholic. And during his tenure, the abortion debate came up in Canada. And a leading bishop in the place where he was elected and lived said that if you don't make abortion illegal, you will not get communion. If you know anything about Catholicism, that's a threat. That's a very dangerous threat to make. And Jean Chrétien said, I may be Catholic, but Canada isn't Catholic. I'm not going to make personal decisions about my personal beliefs imposed on other people. I'm not going to have an abortion. But Canadians should be allowed to exercise their own faiths and beliefs in their own way. And so he said, I'm not going to do that. And Canada and US and many countries have recognized, in order for people to be able to get along, none of the beliefs have 100% truth to them. They all have various claims. But unlike math, we can't prove them. We can't say, oh, it turns out the actual real religion was this little tribe that lived in South America that died out, and their God is really angry and has come back to kill us all. Like, there's no way for us to figure it out. So we allow people to have their personal beliefs. But in this class, we're going to be looking at ethics is if you're going to be making law or imposing it on them. And in that case, just because you're Catholic shouldn't mean that you're going to impose Catholic beliefs. Just because you're Baha'i doesn't mean you're going to impose Baha'i beliefs. You need to have a reason behind it. And as long as you can prove that reason, even if it matches with the beliefs, then it doesn't matter, because you're doing it by the reason, not by the root. And that is actually enshrined in the Canadian, what's the Constitution of Canada called? Charter of Rights and Freedoms. How many of you have read it?
Nope, I have.
You have? The whole thing? I would encourage you to do so. It literally defines what you're allowed to do. 101, you can go. We will finish this off next day and then hopefully start our film. Oh, there used to be a local Baha'i school.
Isn't that